a shrinking world fueled by rapidly advancing technology and the instantaneous dissemination of information, it can be difficult to choose a reliable source among all the noise. In the 21st century, you can get what you want when you want it, and this has forever and irrevocably changed the way people learn about their surroundings. Television time slots are becoming irrelevant, and national television news broadcasts are now simply one of many, many alternatives for information. TV has done its best to keep pace, creating around-the-clock news feeds and spreading its message across multiple media platforms. But of course, it wasn't always this way. Born in 1917, Clyde Douglas Edwards spent the first 13 years of his life in Ada, Oklahoma, where, like many kids, he started developing a keen interest in broadcasting because of the rise of radio. Under the twin national maladies of the Dust Bowl and the Great Depression, Americans fell in love with their radios. Gathering around the radio in the safety of their homes in the evenings, families would spend quality time together, enjoying all sorts of programming.
Good evening, my fellow Americans and friends of the radio audience.
From news and drama to comedy and sports. Edwards acted upon his interest in the airwaves. He became an on-air presence for the first time on an Alabama radio station when he was only 15. He worked for several years doing the standard small-town station duties of reading news, playing records, and announcing upcoming programs. Edwards studied journalism in college and soon landed radio jobs in Atlanta and later Detroit. He sharpened his skills on a wide range of jobs, from announcer to reporter to writer to editor. All the while, however, it was one of his God-given talents that demanded the most attention: his voice.
This is Douglas Edwards. CBS News on the Hour is the sound of news in the making, and this sound introduces our comprehensive news coverage. Distinctively CBS Radio, signaling CBS News. Listen for the signature.
Hired by CBS Radio, Edwards soon became a familiar voice across America, eloquent and commanding, yet always comforting. His national popularity soared after he served as a World War II correspondent under Edward R. Murrow. His wire-to-wire coverage of the 1948 political conventions was groundbreaking. Edwards first anchored CBS Radio's World News Roundup in 1946. Later that year, he began anchoring CBS's first nighttime newscasts for television on Monday and Thursday evenings. In August of 1948, CBS made Douglas Edwards the first person to anchor a nightly television news broadcast. The newscast was titled Douglas Edwards with the News.
CBS News presents Douglas Edwards with up-to-the-minute developments from all parts of the world. Mr. Edwards. Good evening, everybody.
Edwards sat in the anchor chair at CBS for the next 14 years, keeping millions of Americans up to date on national and world events. Edwards and his team pioneered evening news programming, including the introduction of videotape for time-delayed broadcasts. In 1956, his program earned the esteemed Peabody Award for Broadcast Excellence. America trusted the Ada native, making his newscast the most viewed program in 1957. In 1962, CBS executives replaced Edwards with Walter Cronkite and renamed the program the CBS Evening News, which it is still called today.
Good day from CBS News. This is Newsbreak. Catholics in Northern Ireland riot.
Still under contract to CBS, Edwards shifted his focus to delivering television news breaks and returned to radio, his first and greatest love. In 1988, at the age of 70, Edwards retired from broadcasting work after 46 years with CBS.
And so ends a chapter of almost 46 years as this reporter moves on along the journey. A deep bow of gratitude, love, and respect to the men and women of CBS News and to the company for which they stand. To you out there, thank you for honoring me with your presence in my audience, and most of all for your voices, your most sweet voices. Douglas Edwards, CBS News, New York, more news.
He passed away in 1990, leaving behind the first and perhaps best example for bringing the oftentimes difficult news into the homes of Americans night after night. He always exuded class and the highest level of professionalism, making his hometown of Ada, Oklahoma very proud.
I'm Douglas Edwards, CBS News, New York, more news later on this CBS station.